why do you think he is a phenomenon? Because I see him as essentially high grade secular self help.
Absolutely. That's why. That's the answer. Is he's a phenomenon because we're in the outcome, the impact of enlightenment and pragmatism and all of the rationale and reasoning. So you get all these intellectuals, and I was one of them, and you get these centrists and these libertarians and classical liberals who are nobody's really neutral in their desire to know divinity. And so that's why scientism still is a surrogate, because they want to make divinity the universe or some intelligence we're going to find or something. And I think the same applies to this middle sort of the fence sitting centrist who seeks this foundation. And so here comes Peterson in his double talk, and he borrows the Christian skeleton and some of the foundational bricks and whatever, and then he adds his own Jungian intellectual fascia to the bones, right? He adds a different layer to the bones of Christianity and sells Christianity as a useful tool rather than something that you come to faith using logic, right? But you don't know God through reason or logic, but through faith. But that it's not actually real. It's just useful. So it's real in a sense because it's kind of true metaphorically, and it's useful to have this backbone of structure. And you could see that he really grapples with that, or at least he acts very, convincingly that he grapples with it, in all the sobbing and stuff. And so I think he's a phenomenon because he's tapping into one man's given desire to know his creator, to know divinity as a personhood, and within himself too, and to actually ground something at least coherently in an argument as far as why rights can be argued, why dignity can be argued. And if they can get close to some sort of avatar of Christianity, it's enough for just modernity. It's enough for a conversation out with a friend at the bar, and someone will be, oh, that makes sense. I could see that. It's pragmatic and useful. And he's also tapping into the self-help, the whole what is it? His one commercial, it was like, craft yourself, your own heaven and, in your own hell. And it's like this whole like self-creation of your life as if you're authoring your life. And that's the fundamental heresy I see, is that no, you're not the author. You're in someone's existing. There's only one story here from my view. There's only one personhood that we're in the story of, and we're sort of like some sort of mini. We're not gods uppercase, but we're seeking to be theosis. We're seeking to be God like, Christ like, and so no, we're not authoring our own. No, this isn't a self-authoring suite. That means that everybody's truth, that's Oprah level. That's everybody's truth is valid because they're self-authoring it. And so nobody's story can be incorrect, incoherent, wrong, immoral, good even, right? Because it's self-author. That's the irony, is he breaks down all of this like postmodern upside down world, and he argues for structure and coherency and the meaning of words stay true, yet he inverts words. And he also argues that everybody has their own truth, at least as a consequence. He doesn't actually say that. But what he's saying, what he's selling, that would be the consequence, is that everybody's self-authoring suite is correct. So you go, okay, I'm going to sell. I love Jordan Peterson. I love that he said, self-author. I'm going to self-author an authoritarian state, right? Where, this ethnicity is superior and this one's not. And we build up a militia, and our goal is terrestrial gain, right? Into the into the sky even, right? Not just Terra, into the sky. And so he couldn't possibly go, well, no, that's not what I meant. It's like, well, all you did is give an empty slot to fill in. That's it. And that's the fundamental stopping point of his philosophy. And I think he knows it. I don't know if he gets in front of enough people, who can actually tear it apart in a compassionate way. But I think he might know it's futile.
It reminds me of what you said earlier about what premises are being accepted. And fundamentally, what you've got at the root of it is a commitment to autonomy. And that is ultimately what liberalism is. Autonomy is the supreme good. So there's that proverb that error only really takes root in the shade of truth. It has to have a little bit of the truth in it to be really successful. That's what makes heresies last for centuries sometimes. So what you were saying there about the Christian skeleton in Peterson's outlook, I think is spot on. But ultimately, who is he telling people to get on their knees to and worship?
Effectiveness, their own will. Really, I mean, that's what it comes down to. Because even when asked, "Do you believe?" he goes, "Well, I behave as though it's true." And it's like that's just that's not faith. That's not humility. You're just borrowing a set of arbitrary prescriptions so that your life might turn out okay, right? Right. That's what he's selling. It's the worship of the will. He's selling human as God, man as God. And I think he might know it at some level. He might know it, but he might justify it by going, well, at least I'm getting people in the dialectic of Christianity, and that might be enough. And maybe they'll escape my perversions. Maybe that's how he looks at it, right? The speculation, but I could see him going, well, I can do a lot. It's just that, people have to get away from me. I assume at some point he's going to have a breakdown and say, stop listening to me. I could almost see that in the near future.